Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, the play's the thing. With your host, Judy Sleed. Special guest, Bob Sullivan. Now here's Judy.
Oh, thank you for another lovely introduction, Lee. And I have a wonderful gentleman with me. I had a pleasure to meet him several years ago, and I knew absolutely nothing about him. So, hello, Bob.
Hey, Judy, how are you?
Okay, you tell me and the whole world all about yourself. And I noticed you didn't get a title on your credit, and I thought you were a sailing instructor.
That's right.
Yes?
Yeah.
Of course, we are in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And your place is in
Sag Harbor. Yeah.
Sag Harbor.
Yeah,
yes.
Judy. I have a school that teaches sailing. Mm-hmm. It's in Noyak, just west of the village of Sag Harbor. Mm-hmm. And I have been operating that school for about 3 years now. But I've worked there for about 10 years.
So.
Yeah. Our school is a chapter of the American Sailing Association, which certifies the instructors, and it makes sure that the various sailing schools meet its qualifications to be a sailing school. So yeah, I've been doing that for about 10 years now.
And what brought you to the sailing? Where did your interest begin?
Well, it's kind of funny because as a child, my parents encouraged me to take sailing lessons. Oh. And so I was born in Princeton, New Jersey, and my parents would spend the summers in Bay Head, New Jersey, which is on Barnegat Bay, just inside of the Atlantic Ocean on the Jersey shore. And I was taught how to sail on tiny little boats. It's so funny when I go back and I look at these boats that I learned how to sail on, they seem so small. The first time I saw one as an adult, I thought it was a miniaturized version of the boat I learned to sail. They said, no, that's the size of the boat you were taught on. And honestly, the area that we used to put 4 sailors in was the size of this table here. And we have 4 little kids all crammed right in there like that. And the whole boat itself was not, much more than twice the length of this table here. So, and that was back in the 60s, the 1960s. So I learned how to sail back then, and
well, I just want to mention that things that seem to us when we see it as children, and then when as adults, they look different. Exactly, yeah. They looked big then to us, and then you go back and say, "Oh, it's so small."
Yeah,
it happened to me also.
Yeah.
Well, not with a boat. It's just that I went back where I was born, and there was a yard and everything. I said, "Gee, this is so small." To me, it was like an avenue.
Yes, exactly. It is your home, your house, the neighborhood. Everything seems a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But today, at our sailing school, we have boats that are 23 feet long, and they can accommodate 6 adults pretty comfortably. And it's a good boat for any age sailing student, because it's safe. We've never had one tip over in the entire 10 years we've been doing it.
That would be scary.
Yeah.
Do you also do it for pleasure? People just rent it for?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long do they go out to sailing?
The typical rental period is 4 hours.
What do people do in 4 hours in a boat?
Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes you want, well, see, that would be our half day, and then you could rent it for a full day. And it depends. If there's no wind and it's kind of quiet and boring, 4 hours seems like a very long time.
It is. Do they have some place where they dock, or are they just in the water all the time?
They're just in the water. It's very exciting.
Back and forth.
Well.
Oh, they probably have some refreshments on the boat.
Absolutely, yeah. They can bring a picnic lunch or wine and cheese, that kind of thing. It's a lovely excursion. And our sailing school's in Noyac Bay so that people can sail out into Noyac Bay or out up into around North Haven to Sag Harbor, or they can go around Jessup's Neck over to the Peconic Bays, or they can go up around Shelter Island Sound and up towards Greenport.
You get to know all the waters, and do you have a map?
Every boat has a map and
Really?
a telephone number so they can call us if they get lost. I think you were worried about that.
Well, no. I just thought you need a map because I've been driving around and then I see, oops, there's water here, there's water there, and I just don't know what the names are.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Actually, in boats, the maps are called charts.
Oh, yes.
It's a little bit different.
Excuse me.
But it's a technical term, but we like to make sure that people learn about the terms for sailing.
Yes.
And the chart is very important because when you're out on the water, everything the land looks the same. It's just very thin strip of green, and it's hard to tell. The map is shown from a bird's eye view, or the chart, excuse me, is shown from a bird's eye view. But when you're out on the boat and you're looking around this way, it's very difficult to determine where you are. So the chart is important for keeping track of where you've been. I have just one question about this with the chart. You said in a phone number. Well, years ago we didn't have cell phones, so did you supply a phone? Well, we used to supply a radio.
Or
VHF radio, which is the typical or the common form of communication between boats. And we still use that.
Oh.
But usually when people are just going out for a half a day or for even just the day, they can't sail far enough away to get out of the cell phone reception area.
Oh.
So we've never had anybody out of range with cell phones. So it's been a big improvement. Everybody seems to carry a cell phone nowadays.
And when you have like a group of people, how many, 6? Mm-hmm. Do you designate one as the captain and the rest as the sailors?
Yeah, well, we don't. We let them do that on their own. And yeah, usually one person is in charge. But even if the group comes and they don't have a captain already designated, we can supply a captain. I will go along, or my business partner, Mark Tompkins, will go along. We have 3 or 4 other captains that can take you out for the day.
I thought I was making funny, but it's...
No, some people just definitely need help.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm just using my knowledge and what I see in the movies with these boats, because I'm not a boat person.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the only time I was in the ocean when I sailed from Europe to America.
Oh, really?
But otherwise, I never sailed anywhere.
This is quite different, I can assure you. No,
Yes, it is.
The waters around our sailing school are protected, so there's no open seas, and you don't have that concern for seasickness that some people might get, because out in the Atlantic you'll have those big swells and you could get seasick, but not in our area. It's protected. There's never any.
So it's not really the ocean. It's like bays, right?
Correct. Yeah, and it is Shelter Island. Of course, you have the North Fork and the South Fork, and then Shelter Island blocks any potential waves or wind coming in off of Block Island Sound or the Atlantic Ocean. So it provides a very protected area, but still with enough wind. It's a good combination of.
Yeah, I'm getting educated here.
It's interesting.
I'm not. I haven't talked to anyone who knows so much about the wind and the ocean and all that, and the charts. But it's very interesting.
Well, there's a lot.
Well, you mentioned that you were born in Princeton, New Jersey.
Yep.
So how long did you stay there?
Oh, let's see. In Princeton, I lived in Princeton till 9th grade, and then I went off to the Berkshire School, which is in Sheffield, Massachusetts, and it's a 4-year college preparatory school.
People go to Princeton, and you left.
Yeah, I turned around and went the other way, but that was 1970 to 1974, and then I went after that. I went on to Ithaca College in upstate New York.
Wow.
Yeah, at the same town where Cornell's located.
And what did you take up?
Well, I actually took up graphic design and commercial art when I went off to college. And I followed some time at Ithaca with 2 years at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn.
Wow, you went to some prestigious schools.
Well, they were pretty they were pretty good. They were pretty good.
So what did you do with all that knowledge about art?
Initially, I went to work for Children's Television Workshop, the Sesame Street people.
Really? That's interesting.
That was my first job out of college, and we put together the magazines that the Children's Television sponsored. Now, they were a science magazine called 321 Contact. There was a Sesame Street magazine, and there was an electric company magazine. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're still in business anymore or if they still exist, but I know Children's Television Workshop still exists, and Sesame Street, the TV show still exists. But that was fun. I learned how to lay out the page and design the photographs and the type in order to make an attractive, readable communication.
That's a good trade, a good thing to know. So why did you leave that?
Well, I actually left. That was considered publishing because what we were doing was designing magazines. And I decided I wanted to do a little more writing. So I went into the advertising world. And
that's writing?
Well, there's an opportunity for writing. Yeah, actually, I know it sounds ironic that a publishing would not be writing, but
well, it is writing, but it's not creative writing.
Correct. Well,
it's just...
yeah. I'm sure there'd be an argument from somebody about that as well. But
yes, hold on a minute. Don't tell me I'm not creative.
Yes, exactly. But advertising, there's so many different clients and so many different advertisements and directions that can be taken, as opposed to the publishing, which was pretty much always the same thing over and over again. So I spent a good 15, 20 years in the advertising business, and it's an exciting business, and I made a lot of friends in there, and learned quite a bit about the whole process of business and marketing.
Wow, so you're very knowledgeable in that, and I don't think we covered everything, you know.
No, there's some things probably still I know.
So you left that field, and then you said, how long did you stay there, you said?
I'd say about 15 years. 15 years
you left, or what happened?
Well, I actually detoured from there. A friend of mine offered me a job. A person that I used to work with in the advertising business offered me a job with the Gannett organization. Gannett is the publisher of USA Today, the newspaper.
Oh, Gannett?
Gannett, yeah.
Was this all in Manhattan, or?
Yes, it was all in Manhattan.
Because last time I asked you were in Massachusetts.
No, I stayed in Manhattan for about 20 years.
Wow.
1977 to 99, I stayed in Manhattan.
Very daring.
Yeah, I can't understand why I did it now that I live out here in the Hamptons. I honestly, I tell people I haven't regretted a moment of moving out here to the Hamptons. It's so much nicer than the city.
Yeah. And it's getting worse in the city.
I guess. You know, it's been a while since I've been back there. Yeah.
Once in a while I have to go there, and I'm so happy when I'm back here. But I lived in Manhattan for a time also, and it's much busier now than it was then.
Really?
But I was there.
When were you there?
Oh my gosh, from the time I arrived to the shores in the early 40s till, I don't know, like 1990, something like that. But I wasn't always there. I was in, but that was my basic home, Manhattan.
Good for you, yeah. So, but it has changed so much now.
Oh gosh,
it's very busy.
You can't even walk there without bumping into somebody.
Yeah. That's a shame.
So you left the advertising, and then you came to the Hamptons.
Yep. In 1999, I moved out here full time. I lived in Sag Harbor for 2 years, and then I moved to East Hampton in 2002. So it was probably 3 years.
I'm always curious what brings people out from faraway places to the Hamptons.
Well, that's a good question. I love to go fishing. Not only sailing, but I also love fishing. And I would come out on weekends from Manhattan to go fishing here. And
where did you stay with somebody? You had friends here?
I have friends here, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Patty and Melissa, I stayed with them a number of times. I stayed with my friend Paul Dixon. There are just a good number of friends that live out here that were generous enough.
Okay, well, that's a connection.
Yeah.
Some people who come out here, they say that their parents or grandparents had a home here, and they used to come out. But you had friends, yeah. Yeah,
a lot of people who work in Manhattan have second homes in the Hamptons, and some of them are my friends. And so, they were generous enough to put me up for the night occasionally. But I would typically go fishing for the whole weekend, and then I would drive back to the city to work. And at a certain point, I started my own little clothing business. Probably about 1995, I started getting active in selling hats and T-shirts.
Where?
Well, I would sell them all up and down the East Coast.
You mean you didn't have a store?
I didn't have a store, no. It was a wholesale business.
Oh,
a wholesale business.
Wholesale.
Yeah.
You are so enterprising. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, I wasn't that good at it, but I tried. But it was fun. I did a few trade shows, and it was very easy. You could spend the weekend, go to a trade show, set up a table, and show your hats and your T-shirts to store owners. And the store owners would come from all over the East Coast to the trade show, and they would put an order in for 24 hats or 240 hats. And I would just get busy, write up the order, and have subcontractors make up the hats and the T-shirts, and I'd send them off to those stores. And occasionally I'd get paid for it, you know. That was part of the reason I wasn't so successful, was getting people to pay you for it.
That's part of a talent, to make money.
Yes, that's the important part. That's the important part.
Yeah.
But that went on for a while, and that was one of the reasons why I left Manhattan, because it was the kind of business you can run from anywhere. You don't have to be in Manhattan like you do for the advertising business. In the advertising agency business, you're pretty much on call. You have to commute to and from the office every day. Well, I'm sure a lot of people live out here or further out on the island and commute to Manhattan, but I felt that it was important. Yeah, it was important to be in the city while I was working there.
So I want to ask you, and when did you take up music or playing an instrument? Are you playing an instrument?
No.
Oh, you don't? I thought you did.
No, I've been doing a little painting. I've been doing a little writing. I've been doing
when did you
a
start
few things.
painting?
That was part of my education when I went off to
School.
Pratt Institute and to Ithaca College. That's where I started painting.
So in your spare time you paint?
I do. I was painting a picture this afternoon before I came over.
Do you ever have like a show that you have work is being shown?
I have, but it is more a hobby, and I like to keep it that way. I just enjoy the process of painting, and my work is fine. It's okay, but it's not great. You know, it's not fantastic.
You don't think it's good?
Not good enough. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I guess. You know.
I guess so. And you said you're writing. What are you writing?
I like to do creative writing. I was taking a class with Eileen Obser at the Ross School just this past winter. Just creative fiction, just writing short stories, maybe a little memoir from my youth, from my family, sailing experiences, just fishing experience, anything that sort of comes to mind, and weaving a story around it. I enjoy it. Again, it's more of a hobby than it is as a profession, but it takes a lot of concentration and discipline to
Right.
to do that, you know.
Yeah,
So,
you have to allot some time to it.
yeah. So
Just like to your paintings.
well, it's the same thing. Yeah, sure. You really, to be good at it, you really have to do it every day or a little bit every day. And with my work at the sailing school and in Sag Harbor, that takes up pretty much all of June, July, August, and September. I'm just busy all day, every day. So
In the summer.
in the summer. So I put the painting and the writing away, and I just focus on
Of course, you have to make a living.
making a
You
living.
can't always
Yeah,
play.
do that. Yeah.
Well, I call this show The Play's the Thing. So,
Well, yeah.
and we think that sometimes I mention I'm bringing a playmate on
Oh,
this
okay.
show.
Good. Let's play.
Yeah, it
By all
is. So
means.
you said you do other things too, sailing, writing, painting, selling.
Yeah.
Wow, business.
It's exhausting just listening to all those things that
Yes.
I do. No, that's it. I think that's kind of the limit of what I do. I'm not married. I live in East Hampton.
You're not married.
I'm not. I was married. I was married. Wow, long time ago. I guess it was 15 years ago.
Wow.
But now it's just me. I live alone, and I focus primarily on getting the sailing school in operation and
Do you
in
have
order.
any offsprings?
No children.
No.
No.
Okay, so you can really concentrate on the sailing, on whatever you're doing. That's,
Yes, it gives me a lot of free time. I have two sisters. One lives in Princeton, New Jersey, and one lives down in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh, and I would love to know about your mother and father. Were they talented like you?
Yeah, well, my father was in the advertising business as well. He was the one who encouraged me to get involved in advertising. My mother was a housewife, and she came from Winnipeg, Manitoba, up in Canada.
Oh.
Yeah, and a good Midwestern Canadian background. And she was pretty strict disciplinarian around the house. And but she enjoyed figure skating. She was quite a good figure skater and a good tennis player. So she was a bit of an athlete herself.
And did she teach her children how to do those things?
Exactly. Yeah, I was learning tennis and ice hockey at an early age.
Hockey. I'm surprised she let you do it.
No. She encouraged me to do it.
Did you get hurt?
Oh, I did. I got a couple teeth knocked out playing ice hockey, and by the time I reached my 30s, I was pretty much done with ice hockey. It's a pretty rough and tumble operation.
Yeah,
that
it is.
game.
It is.
Yeah, there's a lot of contact.
And are you the youngest?
Middle. I have a younger sister and an older sister as well.
Oh, you're in the middle.
Yeah.
My boy is the youngest, with two bigger sisters.
Ah, okay. How old are they?
Oh my gosh, I forgot. It was such a long time ago.
Okay.
So, and your siblings, your two girls, are they as talented as you are?
Absolutely. My older sister is a writer. She has written a number of books, and they're both gardeners. My mother was a president of the Princeton Garden Club, and my younger sister's gone on to become the president of the Princeton Garden Club.
Oh,
So they're
that
both
is
gardeners, and
yeah.
my older sister wrote a book on gardening. It's called Perennials of the Coastal South by Barbara Sullivan, and she wrote down a lot of information about all the plants that grow along the seashore throughout the southeast of the country, all around Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and around the Gulf Coast, and what perennial plants will grow in that area.
you need some talent to do that.
Oh, it was impressive. It's a very impressive book.
A lot of discipline, a lot of research and all that, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I was dying to ask you, because I always called you by your first name. I never really paid attention to your surname. Are you related to Ed?
Ed. I wish I was related to Ed. He was quite a character, wasn't he? He had that fabulous show. I would have met the Beatles when I was a kid if that were the case, but no.
Yeah.
I'm not related to Ed.
Well, since you didn't talk about it, I figured you were not. But I was thinking every time I hear your name, I said, it's a good shoe, a good shoe.
Oh, yes, a really good shoe tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a very good shoe. Yeah, he was good.
I'm almost happy that you don't have any other hobbies because
You're going to run out of time, right?
Yes.
Listening to me go on and on.
It was great. I'm so happy that we arranged this finally. We had a couple of time slots that we had to iron out, but it's finally here.
That's
and
great.
It's ended already.
Really, we're out of time.
So I want to thank everybody who helped me put this show on, and I always goodbye. And sometimes I explain why I'm doing this, but so this is going to be shown all over the world. So get ready to give autographs.
Oh, I will. I'll practice my autograph.
People
I'll get
will
ready.
come from all over. And they're going to ask you all about the things you do, about the stories you write, and on the shirts and everything, and everything. So just be prepared to get very busy for the next
I'm looking forward
few
to
months.
it. Sounds exciting.
Yes.
All right, well, Judy, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate
It was
it.
my pleasure, and as I always say, I know people for a long time, but I really don't, and this is the time when I find out.